The window didn't just break, it exploded. I was out of bed before the last shard hit the floor, my body moving on instinct, muscle memory from a life I'd sworn to leave behind. My name's Ethan Caldwell, and I used to dismantle problems for the government, problems with guns, bombs, and bad intentions. 5 years ago, I walked away from that world for my wife, Lily, and a quiet life in our 200-year-old farmhouse in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb outside Portland, Oregon. It was October 15th, 2027, and that night, the quiet life I'd fought for turned into a battlefield. Lily was already sitting up in bed, her hands clutching the quilt, her eyes wide and gleaming in the moonlight filtering through the curtains. It was the same look she'd had when I'd come home from deployments, not knowing if the man stepping off the plane was still hers. I'd promised she'd never have to wear that look again. Seeing it now was like a knife in my gut, twisting with every heartbeat. I pressed a finger to my lips, signaling her to stay quiet, and slid out of bed, barefoot, silent, the hardwood cold under my feet. Our farmhouse, built by my ancestors, was supposed to be our sanctuary. Tonight, it was a trap. 2 shadows moved through the living room below, clumsy and loud, like they owned the place. Not burglars' messengers. One was eyeing our new TV, probably calculating its pawn shop value. The other held up a small painting, a crooked tulip drawn by our 9-year-old niece, squinting at it like it was a Picasso. Its worth was nothing to them, everything to us. That was the problem, they didn't understand value, only price. I grabbed the fire poker from the hearth, its black iron heavy, reliable. No guns. Guns meant noise, and noise meant paperwork. I wanted this quiet. I stepped into their orbit, letting gravity do the work. The TV guy blinked, confused, then went down with a dull thud as the poker kissed his skull. He crumpled like a cheap tent. The other guy, the art critic, dropped the painting, the frame clattering on the floor. He spun, face twisted with shock and rage, a crowbar in his hand. He swung it in a wide, angry arc, aiming for my head. It was powerful but slow, telegraphed like a bad movie. I ducked, the breeze ruffling my hair, and jabbed the poker under his chin. His teeth snapped shut with a sickening click, his head whipped back, and he hit the floor like a felled tree. Silence returned, thick and heavy, broken only by my ragged breathing. A siren wailed in the distance. That'd be our neighbor, Walter, the guy who watched the street like it was his job. For once, his paranoia was useful. I checked the intruders, both breathing, out cold. In the kitchen drawer, behind the tinfoil, I found zip ties from my old life. Old habits die hard. In under a minute, they were hog-tied, wrists and ankles secured. I slid their phones under a steel mixing bowl to block signals, another old habit. One lock screen glowed with a text, confirmed delivery. Key under mailbox. No name, just an address in Willow Creek. Lily appeared at the stairs, her robe pulled tight, fear replaced by weary resolve. "This is her, isn't it?" she whispered. She didn't need to say the name. Margaret Voss, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, had been tormenting us for months with her petty notices. Our mailbox was too rustic, our roses the wrong shade, our porch light too bright. We thought it was just bureaucratic nonsense. We were wrong. This was war. The police arrived, lights flashing red and blue. The deputy, a lanky guy named Carter, eyed the broken window, my zip tie handiwork, then me. "Military?" he asked. "Used to be," I said. He nodded, like that explained the 2 guys on my floor. While they processed the scene, I gave them the short version: broken window, 2 intruders, self-defense. The evidence phones, porch cam footage, timestamps backed me up. But I knew this wasn't over. Margaret had made her move, and she'd underestimated me. She thought I was just a suburban dad. She had no idea what I was capable of. 5 years ago, I'd left a life where nights like this were routine. I'd been good at it. It left scars you can't see, hollowed me out until Lily was the only thing keeping me grounded. For her, I quit, traded danger for a desk job consulting on logistics, boring but safe. We bought this farmhouse for peace, not rules. Across the road sat Willow Creek Estates, with its manicured lawns and 400-page rulebook. Margaret Voss greeted us the day we moved in, not with a pie, but with a clipboard and a measuring tape. Her smile was cold, her eyes sharper than steel. "Community standards," she'd said, handing us the rulebook. It wasn't a welcome. It was a warning. Her notices started small fines for our mailbox being visible too long, our roses not on the approved list, our porch paint, weathered oak, instead of autumn acorn. We paid the fines, replanted the roses, repainted the porch. We just wanted peace. But peace came at a cost, and Margaret was the collector. Then her Lexus rolled up one afternoon, 2 suits in tow, one with a briefcase, one with a tablet. She shoved a forged deed transfer into my hand, claiming our land for a community access road. I tore it in half. Her smile vanished, and she pulled a snub-nosed revolver from her blazer. "Last chance," she said. I twisted her wrist, disarming her as she hit the gravel, the gun firing a wild shot into the barn roof. Sheriff Carter's truck roared up the hill, lights flashing. He bagged the gun, logged the forged papers, and stopped her suits from fleeing. Lily bore the brunt of it. I'd come home to find her staring at another HOA envelope, her spark dimming with each fine. Our perfect neighborhood was her prison, and Margaret was the warden. The break-in changed everything. It wasn't a random burglary, it was a message. But why? Why escalate from fines to violence? It didn't add up. Margaret was too smart for something this reckless. Either she was desperate, or the stakes were higher than I'd imagined. I tried the civilized route. At the next HOA meeting, held in the community center that reeked of bleach and despair, I laid out the harassment, the fines, the break-in. The room stirred, neighbors nodded, recognizing Margaret's tyranny. But she sat there, bored, tapping her pen, then cut me off. "Mr. Caldwell's refusal to comply affects us all," she said, her voice dripping with fake pity. She blamed the break-in on random crime and proposed a $600 special assessment to cover legal fees and security caused by my disruptions. It was brilliant. She painted me as the villain, turned my neighbors against me, and made them pay for my defiance. Lily was right, you can't reason with a storm. The attacks grew sharper. My car was towed for a tiny oil drip, costing $500 to retrieve. Landscapers ripped out Lily's roses, citing a violation, leaving her crying at the window. Then came the foreclosure notice, a forged quitclaim deed claiming our home was sold for unpaid fees. The auction was set for 30 days out. This wasn't about rules, it was about taking our home. I turned our farmhouse into a war room, wiring cameras, bugs, and encrypted servers. I dug into Margaret's life, her mansion, her luxury SUV, her modest HOA stipend. It didn't add up. Walter's cryptic note, "Follow the pipes," led me to her brother-in-law's company, Clear Flow Irrigation, which billed the HOA $600,000 for a sprinkler system. Every major contract, landscaping, paving, security, traced back to her family or shell companies. She was embezzling millions through fake contracts and fines. Then Walter, trembling, handed me a faded map from the county archives. It showed our land as part of the Voss family homestead. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just corruption, it was personal. She wanted our land, her ancestral claim, back. I laid out the evidence, financial records, surveillance, the map. Lily stared, horrified. "She's unhinged," she said. "What do we do?" I could go to the FBI, but justice was slow, and Margaret was dangerous. I'd fight her on my terms, using her own weapons, fear and control, against her. I targeted her bored crony, Victor, a greedy blowhard. Posing as a rival contractor, I lured him to a park with photos of his kickbacks and a note, "Margaret's setting you up." He panicked, confronted her in a secret meeting I bugged. She turned on him, framing him for embezzlement. I leaked an audio clip to every resident, sparking a petition for an emergency meeting. The neighborhood was furious their money was being stolen. The meeting was set for that night. An hour before, a van pulled up. For men, professionals, moved with lethal precision. They weren't here to scare me, they were here to kill me. I ambushed the first 2 at the front door, breaking one's wrist, knocking out the other. A crash from the patio signaled the others. Lily was upstairs. Rage took over. I tackled one into the kitchen island, his head cracking on marble. The last fired, grazing my shoulder. I blinded him with a fire extinguisher and dropped him with a blow to the temple. 30 seconds, for down. I zip-tied them, called 911, and interrogated the one I'd shot in the leg. He confessed. Margaret worked for Land Pro Development, a corporate giant using the HOA to siphon millions. The Voss homestead was a lie. She was a regional manager, her name assigned, her vendetta a cover to hide a corporate land grab tied to a new highway plan. The meeting was chaos. Neighbors shouted, furious at their stolen fees. Margaret tried to pin it on Victor, but I took the mic. You've been robbed, I said, playing the confession naming Land Pro and her fake homestead story. Her face drained of color. I played her threatening Victor, exposing her lies. The room turned on her, a tidal wave of anger. Police burst in, cuffing her as she mouthed, "You're dead." It wasn't just her, it was Land Pro's warning. The aftermath was messy. News vans swarmed Willow Creek. Land Pro denied everything, but I leaked the evidence to reporters. The story went viral, sparking lawsuits and a federal probe. The HOA was dissolved, reformed under Walter, who tried, and failed, to mandate tinfoil hats. Lily planted a wild new garden, breaking every old rule. Our home was ours again, but the war wasn't over. Land Pro was wounded, not dead. Sitting on our deck, Lily asked, "Is it really over?" I looked at her, at the scar on my shoulder, at the sunset. "For now," I said. "Peace wasn't a place, it was a fight you earned." What would you do if a corporation tried to steal your home? Would you fight like Ethan, bending the rules to win, or trust the system to save you? Is it ever okay to become the monster to fight one? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more stories that make you question everything.